Hey, welcome to this video section or video blog, if you like, on my first time using Blender. So traditionally, I've always used or utilized the Autodesk products, so 3ds Max, Maya, and some other ones as well, like Fusion 360. Blender seems to have a growing popularity within the 3D modeling community. It's got strong indie, or it is a strong presence on the indie scene, and I think it's worth definitely dabbling in to see what all the fuss is about. It's been around for a little bit now, so maybe perhaps I'm a little bit late onto the scene, but yeah, I mean, for the type of work I do and where I've been, Autodesk products still seem to be the sort of go-to tools, if you like. That's not to say that it isn't going to change, and there are different sort of appeal factors, if you like. I suppose with Blender, one of the big things for it is it's free. I know you've got to pay. When I did a bit of research in it, you've got to pay for the plugins for the additional features for it, which means in some ways you can really customize the sort of tool itself, the software itself, to include the tools that you're most working with. So for example, if you're going to be a hard surface artist, you're going to get a bunch of plugins where you don't need to develop them, and you can get these straight in. In comparison, I suppose, with the Autodesk products and the likes of 3ds Max, yeah, I think a lot of that within big studios are sort of, they have very bespoke pipelines, and 3ds Max has been around for well over a decade now. It's a very, very prominent tool in sort of large studio settings, and it's been around for a good while now. And I think that has enabled it really to, when it's been used for such a long time, there'll be bespoke tools and pipelines that have been created integral to studios' workflows. And I think in that respect, that's where Blender might struggle a little bit in terms of its adaptability to push into those very, very structured pipelines, and those pipelines that have been established for quite some time now. So maybe that's why I've not really seen it sort of move beyond that sort of indie and small studio team into the larger studios. Having said that, though, I could be, I might be wrong here. This is a very opinionated. You can get involved. You can comment in the descriptions. I am not an advocate of promoting one software over the other. I've done this for many years. I've taught many different types of software, and what I can say from a professional perspective is that software comes, goes, and it changes, and you have to be willing to adapt to stay ahead of sort of industry trends, or at least stay up to date with them. So I'm just going to come in here. I've booted up Blender. I'm on version 4.2.1, which has long-term support. So I know it's got long-term support because it's got the LTS there. So again, this is completely new to me. I've not touched anything in Blender. I don't know what I'm doing, so this should be a fun video. And if you see me and you're like, I'm trying to do something and you know the answer, just pop it in the comments, and it'll help me out learning the software. So it looks like we've got the main user interface. There's some nice sort of setups here. You've got your manual tutorials there. There's a support section as well, which is always good. I'd be interested to explore these a little bit later on and see what type of support's provided for a free software like Blender. So that'd be quite interesting. I think the big one here is the community. So I know Blender's got a big community following, and I'd be very interested maybe to get involved with that community and see if I can push my own learning within the software via that. So that's pretty good. You've got obviously the donate button. So Blender, it relies on donations and that. I suppose it's maybe asset market. I'd have to look a little bit more into its structure. And then we've got some new file formats. So we've got a general, 2D animation. There's some scripting as well, which is always good. I'd be interested in maybe developing some tools for this, as I've got a background in that as well. We've got some VFX and video editing. So it seems like it's got some nice presets here. We're just going to go for a general one. So I'm just going to click that button and then see what I've got in the interface. So I'm presented here with this box, and I've just used Alt and middle mouse button to click. So middle mouse button seems to put you into an orthographic view. Let's have a look. Usually in these types of software, there is a sort of a 3D view cube. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's familiar. So there's a nice little 3D view cube there. I wonder if I can zoom out with the mouse button. Yeah, I can zoom in and out. That's pretty cool. So if I hold the mouse button in and rotate around, I can actually move around. That's pretty good. Can I select off here? Yeah. So I've got, this must be like the outliner, the scene outliner. So we've got a camera in there, a cube, and a light as well. Can you switch these on and off? Ah, there we go. We can switch them on and off as well. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, you've got a camera. So I wonder how I actually pan in this software then. So is it control maybe? Maybe, oh, I don't know what that is. So control and right mouse button. Oh, that's interesting. So it's like a lasso selection tool. That's pretty cool. I like that. That's pretty good. Let's just see. So I'm struggling here to the pan, and again, this is part of the challenge. Learning new software, you've got to learn the tool. So I'm just going to have a little nosy here because we've got some selection tools, or it looks like some selection tools on the left-hand side. So I'm just going to have a look here what these actually do. So we've got a cursor point. I'm not quite sure what that is for. We'll see here. So we've got to move. So that's interesting. That is for the actual cube itself. So the actual geometry itself in there. So that's pretty cool. Just gonna see whether I can get, you know, this pan button working. Oh, I've done something there. So spacebar actually plays this little thing down here, which is quite interesting. This would be the animation timeline. So it's not thing, it'd be animation timeline. I know that I can sort of get that by the keyframing here. So it's got keyframing, you've got your keying and stuff as well. And you know, if you've used 3D software before, yeah, it's not too you know, difficult to identify these things. Let's just see. So there's some more options up here that I'm kind of interested in. So we've got rotate, we've got scale. That's a transform. I'm guessing that's a transform gizmo. Yeah, so you can scale this up and down. I wonder if you hover over it, gives you the instructions. Oh, that's cool. So you can get on T. T's the shortcut for that. I wonder what the other shortcuts are then. So box, select items. So you've got W. So W must let you select. I still don't know what that vertex one is here. The cursor. So it says set cursor location, drag to transform, shift space bar. So shift and space bar. And I'm not quite sure what that is. Oh, that's quite interesting. So I'm moving this around sort of on a 3 axis point now. It's not constrained or anything like that. So that's quite interesting. Still don't know how to pan, by the way. I'm still struggling here. What's this? Scale. So what's the difference between the transform and the scale? So supports combine of graph, rotate, scale at once. Ah, okay. So does this include, I think, if I... Ah, okay. So this looks like it's uniform scale. This looks like it's just restricted to scaling. The actual transform itself allows you to rotate and scale. So that's pretty cool. So I'm guessing we could probably use this, and I'm guessing we could scale. Could we? Yeah. Does it scale along an axis at all? Maybe. It looks like it's uniform scale in that sense. Does it? I'm guessing it's scaling locally. It looks like it's scaling locally. Let's try on this one. Okay, so that's interesting. Let's get back onto this view. Let's see. So we've got smooth. So if you hold right click in Blender, this reminds me a little bit of Maya when I was using Maya. Maya has the pop-up window and hotkeys and stuff like that. So it sort of reminds me of that. So let's have a look at that. What's this here? Smooth shading. Oh, okay. So you've got different shading modes, but something else has caught my eye. So let's have, oh, is that move the view? Ah, there we go. We've got a pan. There we go. I can pan round. I can rotate now. So I wonder what the shortcut is for this. It doesn't say on here like the others. I haven't really got the shortcut. So perhaps I'll have to have a look at that a little bit later on. So that'd be interesting. But at least now I can pan round and I can rotate and I can zoom in and out. So that's not took really that long to learn in terms of the video content. I think, we've been on here for a few minutes, maybe about 10 minutes or something, and I've got that already. So that's something that's good. Okay, I've just caught my eye as well, something up here as well. So, I mean, when you're breaking these interfaces down, I mean, I'm sort of like, flying all over here. But my advice would be, if you're learning a new piece of software, try and start on the basics. So have a look. Usually the top toolbar when you're learning this stuff and you're self-teaching, this will have a lot of the core features. So again, in file, you'd expect to find, save as, you open, new scene and whatnot. You've got the export and import buttons, which are always important if you're using this software to build something for maybe a game engine or port out into another render application. So have a look on here as well. You've got the default settings. I mean, I feel like the undo and redo are quite universal. So you've got undo, which is Control Z there, and you've got the redo, which is Control Shift Control Z as well. So you can redo things as well. We've got the render image. I'm not going to get into rendering because I want the video to be a bit dynamic. So usually when you click render, it takes a little bit of time to build image, but it's always useful to see that. You've got F12, so I'm presuming that is the shortcut to actually enable a render. I am so tempted to press this right now, but I ain't going to do it because, I want to keep the video sort of free-flowing. Let's have a look. So we've got window, new window. I wonder if there's different layouts that you can have to this. So it doesn't list any here, but we have got the new window settings. So if I do that, it gives you a little view. I wonder if that's dockable. It seems like it's dockable, but is that... I don't know whether that's just... okay, so that's just my computer screen. So that's not an actual dockable inside. I'm presuming Blender you would be able to dock this in different places. Let's have a look at the modeling. Okay, so it looks like you jump between different modes. That's quite interesting. So if we look here, I've got layer, or layout, should I say, and we've got object mode. So if I click this now, it looks like I get a drop-down menu for different modes here, and I've got the edit poly mode, which is again not too dissimilar to other 3D programs that like I've used before in the past, or perhaps maybe you use yourself. So we've got the edit poly mode, and accessing that, which again, this is very typical of 3D applications. They often give you more than one way to access certain features. So if I jump up here now, if I change that back to object mode and we jump out and I jump into modeling, you see I get all the modeling tools from there. So that's quite interesting. It looks like we've got sculpting, you've got UV editing. Oh, that's actually quite cool. I like that. I really like the breakdown of sort of UV split screen, and I wasn't wrong. Blender, you can split the screen here, so that's quite interesting. We've got texture paint. I wonder if you can actually paint in here. This is I can't get anything on here yet. Maybe we've got to create a layer or something like that. I don't know, but that's quite interesting. This would be interesting to see. I did used to use the viewport canvas tool in 3ds Max quite a lot. That was quite fun to use. But obviously, Substance Painter and the arrival of that sort of replaced it and became the mainstay for that 3D modeling painting. I probably push it more up there with when compared to ZBrush as well. So ZBrush is a fantastic sculpting tool, but I think for texturing and painting those low poly models, I think Substance Painter just trumps quite a lot at the moment, and it sort of goes back as well to that sort of speciality of each software. Each software is trying to bespoke or be the strongest within a certain thing. So having that adaptability and that sort of I suppose a multifaceted approach to your software, keeping an open mind, you can sort of jump between them and do different things, utilize different strengths in each one. So I'm just going through here. So we've got the animation, we've got the rendering, nothing's in, we've got active viewport there. I wonder, you must be able to get this assigned to the camera or something. So we'll come back to that. Compositing, geometry. Oh, okay, so we got the nodes as well. So let's just have a look. This is quite interesting. It looks like it's the construction of the box, or maybe what I've done to the box. It could be. Is it geometry, face? So it looks like it's the box or the nodes for the box setup, that's quite interesting. That could be quite powerful. If you've got access to a visual scripture and you're not traditionally a programmer, but you've got an understanding of programming, these visual charts or flow graphs are really powerful tools. you know, you can create quite a lot with these. If you get familiar with them, you can, you know, customize scenes, build tools, build things to complete repetitive tasks as well. So that's quite interesting. And then we've got the scripting side here. I'd be interested in to see this. I think I'm not sure it's scripting language. I don't know where it's got. Is it? I'll have to look up on here what its scripting language is, its actual programming language. So this would be interesting. I would be interested in Blender and producing plugins, so I'd be very interested to learn a little bit more sort of about this and what programming language it is, whether it's C++ or whatever it might be, C#. I'm not too sure yet. And again, this is my first time, so I'm completely new. I'm just flying in the dark here. So let's have a look. Let's jump back into the modeling mode and explore this little modeling feature or menu, should I say. I suppose it's not little, but we'll have a little nosy at this. I've just noticed as well, there's a little butterfly here. So I'm presuming, I wonder if that's the symmetry for this, which would be quite interesting, but we'll maybe come back to that. Okay, so edit poly mode. We're in the edit poly mode. I'm just going to have a look and see what we've got. So we've got extrude. Okay, so these shortcuts, it looks like these shortcuts for each of these. So if I select our object, do I just press E? That's not selecting. So we've got move. Do I have to? Okay, so I've got to select. At the moment, I'm in vertex selection mode. So there must be another mode that I can get to for the polygons. So let's just have a look. Default global, select box. What are these here? Selection mode, face. Oh, hey, there we go. So the selection modes are located at the top. I wonder, so it's control click. I think if you control click, is it shift maybe? So you can hold control click and that'll get each of the things. I wonder, is there a toggle for it? Faces shift click for multiple mode. I don't know the toggle for it. I mean, is it 1? Oh, there we go. 2. Is that edge mode? And then maybe 3. Yeah, there we go. So again, 1, 2, and 3 are usually quite common in 3D programs for you know, selecting different features there. So you know, if you've been around these sorts of software packages for quite a while, again, there's a lot of similarity in this. There's a lot of things you can sort of pull in that previous knowledge. So let's go into face mode, and I know what I'm pressing here. So if you look up here, I can press like 1 and the little icon changes, 2 and 3, and then I can get the mode. So I think it was E to extrude. Oh, that's quite interesting. It just snaps straight into the extrusion itself. It doesn't actually you know, it doesn't actually require you to do any additional things. I think it works just off a mouse. Let's just do that again. So if I grab this piece, let's click E, I can sort of extrude that. That's quite good. And I can pan and just zoom out. So it's middle mouse button to rotate. I still don't know what this little point is here. I mean, I'm struggling to, is it, it's not the line. No, it's definitely something that I put in over here. So I'd be interested to see what's that little node point there as well. That's quite interesting. I wonder if you got to select that. Let's see what other features it's got in here. So inset faces, I. So we've got E for extrude, I for inset. So this one doesn't seem to work the same. I've got, I suppose we used to call these like running ants. They look like little running ants or marching ants. But what I think, it doesn't work off the mouse drag. So I'm presuming I've got a click and drag. That didn't work, so let's go back into that eye. Oh, it's worked. Which way do I drag it? So it seems to only inset it for a small amount. I can't drag it up. So I wonder why that is. I'm presuming there's got to be maybe some sort of shortcut maybe, or some sort of key binding or something to it that allows me to inset that a little bit more. I suppose what you could do though is, you know, we could attempt to scale that face in. So maybe not with that one. Let's have a look. We've got rotate, transform. I don't know whether this. So what I'd be interested to see if there's a local transform or something where you can actually, I wonder if it's here, scale cage, scale. And oh, there we go. That looks to me, as I said before, it's a local transform. So a local transform in sort of 3D, these applications, is it'll be a transform that is perpendicular to the normals of a face or vertex or something like that. So if you're often using these, it should scale it along those edges. I seem to be having a little bit of a problem with this one. So maybe perhaps I'm not using that tool right, or I've just not clicked on it correctly or something like that. So again, I'll do a bit further exploring on that. What else have we got? This object's just absolutely insane. It's, you know, I'm just extruding and building things out. We've got a little plus here, so you can actually add more cubes. That's interesting. Annotation, annotate, shortcut D. So can we? What is this for? Let's draw a smiley face. Does that just give you a little? Is it just a little spline or something? Does it stay there? It must stay there. That's quite interesting. Can you move it at all? I wonder if it's put anything on here. So what's that tool? We've got a tool selection. Is that smooth or something? So that's quite interesting. I'm not really sure what the annotation's for. So again, another tool, different feature. So we've got bevel. Let's have a look how the bevel works. Okay, so it seems to bevel that in. We'll try on this one. Is there a shortcut? Was that? Let's see. B. Control B for bevel. Oh, that's quite good. So you've got Control B. So let's see if I can remember these. So we've got E for extrude, I for inset. Okay, so I need to master this tool a little bit more. And then we've got Control B for bevel. So that's quite good. That's it makes sense in terms of the key bindings. I think it makes sense. It sort of starts with the keyword, or the first character is a part of that keyword. So that string value or whatever it is. So B for bevel or Control B. So I'm presuming B as well has another function. So yeah, we've got something there. I don't quite know what that is, but we've got something there for B. Presumably it's something to do with the screen. So Control B is the actual function itself. So there we go. So usually if you've got to, in 3D programs or anything like that, even in game engines, if you're using the hotkeys, if you've got to use Control and then select the key, it's because the key binding itself is bound to another function inside of the software. Let's have a look. We've got loop cut. That's pretty cool. It seems to snap as well in the middle. I wonder if there's a free-flowing one. I wonder if you can hold Control or something like that, and a bit of a free-flowing one. I mean, this is just a mess in terms of like topology. Literally, I don't even know what this is. This is so funny. Let's have a look. We've got a knife tool. So do we just select our points? Yeah, we can just select points there and just cut in. Okay, that's quite interesting. And then what's this? So to exit tools, escape? No. That's good. It cuts right across, but I just want to escape the tool. So do I deselect it maybe? So escape. You click out of a tool, get another one. If you hold so you got an offset there. So there's on some of these, if you actually see a little arrow, it's a tiny little arrow on the icon. So again, very familiar in different 3D applications. So if you hold that, it usually pops out a menu. So it's sort of an instruction for you to say, hey, there's an embedded menu here, click and hold. So in our case, it's a left mouse button, and you can sort of grab that, and we'll see what this one's like. So I mean, I click something there. Oh yeah, it's giving us something. It's not really liking that area. Okay, that's interesting. It seems to have kept my selection on here. So when I'm sort of insetting that, then it looked like it's sort of was on that same selection. So we've got to be in, maybe we've got to be in edge mode. So let's go back into 2. We've got to select an edge maybe and then do it. Okay, so it seems like it. That's a good point. We've got, if you right click, it brings up all the stuff. for the edges. So that's quite interesting. So if you right click the menu, you can bring up stuff in terms of all the tools. So okay, right, all right, so I might not need to use this menu after all. So it is escape. If we hit escape, that should exit the tool for us. Polygon build, I wonder what this is. Can you click and add a point or something? I'm not quite sure what that does. There are little descriptions on here. So use multiple operations in an interactive way to add, delete, or move geometry. So it's again control mouse click. So you've got some controls in here. I think if you click some stuff, let's have a look. Oh, so I've definitely added something there, which is quite interesting. And then we've got, what's this one? So quite sure nothing's really popping up for that. And then we've got another tool here, and okay, so that seems like the menu. I mean, obviously I'll have to explore these a little bit more to see, and we've created some sort of monstrosity here, which is quite funny. I think, yeah, we'll wrap up the video there. I mean, we've done about 30 minutes. That is my first use of Blender. It looks like I'm doing something here as well. I've got like a cube, maybe I've got something set. I don't know what I've done. We can go into maybe layout. Oh, it looks like I've pressed play on the animation mode. So let's just go back in here. There you go. So I've been updating the keyframes or something like that. So perhaps maybe one of those tools was for the animation. But yeah, I mean, that's about 30 minutes in, and already I've got to grips with some of the key features of it without even reading some of the tutorials as well. So I think my first impressions, it looks like quite a fun software package. It seems heavily reliant on the hotkeys, which isn't, you know, given the software these days, it's not actually that uncommon now for these types of software to use a lot of hotkeys. You know, they're incredibly complex. They have a variety of tools and menus, and you know, to memorize all the UI, you know, it can be tricky. So I think having those hotkeys and those features and learning those key bindings would be a good sort of practice and a good way to go forward and familiarize myself even more. The viewport's quite nice. I do like the gray. It's got like some nice shading as well here. I wonder if you can add like you know, like different shading modes, or it updates with the material. I'm presuming it does. We've got some modes. We've got some modes up here. There we go. Look at that. That's quite nice. So we've got like a default shading mode here. I wonder what that one's called. Viewport shading method to 3D. That's pretty good. And I guess this one's maybe more for performance, which again is not too dissimilar from what you'd find in other software packages. But yeah, my first impressions, I think it's got great potential. I've obviously only scratched the surface. I've not dived into this. I've not used this before. I've not checked out any of the documentation, but my first impressions are it seems like a good program. It's got all the key sort of features, if you like, which I can pull on. Like that knowledge that I've had previously has really helped me there navigate and quickly find key features. And I feel like the naming conventions within the actual scripts themselves, or the actions, so the extrude, the you know, the shortcut key bindings and stuff, they make total sense, you know. So E for extrude, it was I for inset, and then Control B for bevel as well. So that's stuff that really, for me, who's got experience in modeling, I can really pull off that information. I can really use that. But yeah, my first impressions, I feel quite happy. I feel like I've learned a little bit there, and I'm happy to continue this. So yeah, leave some comments. Let me know. Tell me the shortcut for pan if you know how to pan. Tell me how to pan the shortcut. And if there's any other tips or tricks you can give me in the comments, let me know. I'd be keen to learn and continue the journey. And if you're someone who's new to Blender and perhaps picking it up, hopefully this video is giving you a little bit of confidence, as myself, who's got no experience in Blender, I've been able to navigate it and pick it up quite easy. So as always, you know, I will see you in the next video, or I'll catch you in the comment section. So please don't forget to like and subscribe for me. It'll mean a lot. So thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch you later.